Good morning.
Good morning, Jew. It's Heather Gold in another sunny, hot, drought-filled California day.
I'm Katie Halper in New York, and it's a disgusting day, and it's raining. It's literally freezing rain.
Well, this morning I'm giving my tip of the mug to John Stuart Leibovich, known as John Stewart, who, like many Jews, does the middle name as last name. There's like a whole oeuvre of the Billy Joel, Leah Michelle, John Stewart-y thing. So, John Stewart. Thank you.
L'chaim.
Well
Thank
done,
you.
L'chaim.
My I can't believe they're not Jewish of the day is going out to Jason Biggs. And I really still find it troubling and hard to believe because there are some Italians who kind of straddle the Italian-Jewish no man's land. There's a Venn diagram, if you will, of Jewish-Italian ethnicity. But to me, Jason Biggs doesn't fall in that area. To me, he looks like a Jew who couldn't be mistaken for an Italian. But who knew? He's Italian.
He's Italian?
I think it's time to start talking about this very important Bridgegate story. As people probably know, Bridgegate is a story about Chris Christie.
Chris Christie, who's supposedly the leading candidate for a Republican nomination for president, he claimed that he knew nothing about it. It was only these other people. And in talking about the story, Katie, you noticed something really key.
I did. Heather was very optimistic. She thought, what could be better for the Jews than a vilification of someone who's so Christian? His name is Christ, Jesus Christ twice, right? So Jewish, so nice he had to be Jesus Christ twice. But then I, with my Jewish paranoia, realized that there was a man involved, a Jewish man known by the name David Wildstein, who was the head of the Port Authority, and he was the one who actually shut it down. And I feared I got a little bit of agita. That's for you, Jason Biggs. I got scared the blame would fall, as it so often does, on the Jew. Now, again, Chris Christie, Christ, and Bridget Kelly, whose name and face are basically shiksa, they were the ones who were taking most of the heat. And Heather predicted that Wildstein wouldn't be in the news. But, lo and behold, he's making the headlines because he says he has proof that oh yes, Chris Christie did know of what his administration was doing.
But he's not. It's still a great thing for the Jews because Wildstein isn't in the news because it's his fault, even though we have proof that he is the one who went and shut the bridge down. He's in the news because he set off a chain of events and coming out and saying this that make Christie look even worse.
You're right. He's a whistleblower.
He's the nerdy dude with the glasses who's like, I got this job, this special job you made up just for me. I mean, the Daily Show's already covered the kind of high school politics of it happened.
It's so sad, though. Chris Christie, apparently, it's hard to believe this now, but he was an athlete and popular and probably a bully. He probably beat the crap out of people. I wouldn't be surprised if some of it were anti-Semitic, but that's just conjecture for now. But he actually said aloud that he wasn't friends with David Wildstein. He was like, I was the class president and an athlete. I don't know what David was doing at the time. The Christie administration, proving that he's not at all a bully, responded by basically trashing this guy as a high school nerd and circulating these ridiculous talking points. Some of the talking points are that he sued over a local school board election as a 16-year-old.
Isn't that like a proud Jewish, like my son figured out how to sue? And you know what?
Yeah.
He's worried about the school board.
Yeah, exactly.
At 16,
they're up to
his
no good.
Parents are felling. That's
Over
like a Jewish
board
touchdown suing the school board. That's
exactly.
like he had a grand slam.
The closest we come to the end zone. Is that even the thing, the end zone? Then he was publicly accused by his high school social studies teacher of deceptive behavior. I'm thinking he did so well on the test because he's a smart Jew.
You know what?
The social studies teacher was like, you have to be deceiving
How can
him.
David help it if he's smarter than the teacher?
Exactly.
The teacher was embarrassed. What can he do? He felt tricked because David knew more than he did
knew more,
about the 1812 war. Come on.
He always loved, he was obsessed with the 1812 war. David always went crazy for it. And then he had a strange habit of registering web addresses for other people's names without telling them, which is a little weird. I'm going to be very rabbinical and go back and disagree with what I said earlier and agree with you, Heather. Because I think Wildstein is going to go down as the little Jew, the big Jew who could, as the whistleblowing Jew, the Pfeiffer Jew. Remember, Pfeffer is whistle. I don't know if you remember that.
Look at that callback to our episode about where Jewish names come from, huh?
He's a pfeffer blower. He may be the hero of the story. He may bring down Jesus Christ.
Christy Christ. I'm not sure that being the guy who shut down the traffic in the first place is so great. But he seems tough to stand up to a bully at this point. Because Chris, to the power of 2, has decided to be such a schmuck. He makes Wildstein look great. This is like the 4th level of greatness for the Jews of Chris Christie. He's making Wildstein, Mr. My big sports activity extracurricular in grade 10 was to sue the school board. He's making him look butch, okay? Way to go, Chris Christie. Chris Christie continues to be great for the Jews.
Yeah, I feel like you're 2 drinks away from proposing to him. Let's be honest. It could happen.
Really? It's going to like change my my orientation? Unlikely.
Heather, I thought you were beyond the binary.
I'm beyond the binary, but Chris,
you're multi-nary in no way accommodates Chris Christie. Understandable. The no mouth.
I have a my orientation, while some fluidity like everyone in the world, is completely binary when it comes to bullies. It's just like the biggest turn off in the world.
This is a bully. This down there is a bully-free zone. You have a 0 tolerance policy.
0 tolerance.
Let's move on to our next story. Speaking of Jesus, it's about Jewish Jesus, Woody Allen.
Well, we also were ahead of the news on this, too. Turns out Morning Jew is like how you predict the news. Turns out. We didn't even know we were going to be a predictive show. But if you
didn't predict our predictiveness.
Well, link back, but, because there was a recent thing in Vanity Fair on Dylan Farrow, who was a child of Woody Allen. She doesn't talk to him anymore, but was his adopted daughter. And she had done an interview in Vanity Fair and now wrote, Christoph posted a letter from her in the New York Times in the Jewish Bible, the New Torah. And it's become a huge story restating that he abused her when she was 7 with incredible detail. And another Jewish pal of Woody Allen's, a documentarian who did this documentary on him, did a piece in the Daily Beast. I'd say this week this has exploded into the largest sexual assault survivor discussion in the public sphere in my lifetime. Maybe the most high-profile one because you have statements from both people. Is this good for the Jews? It's a bit of a complicated thing in looking at it that way. Obviously, it is tragic. Dylan Farrow, I don't know how Jewish Dylan Farrow is. Couldn't tell you. She's a claim. I mean, when you've been related to Woody Allen,
I know it's sort
of a slam dunk. You can even disown Woody Allen and still be Jewish. It's almost
the Woody Allen-ish and Jewish thing to do.
It's a Woody Allen response to Woody Allen.
That's what Woody Allen. You know how Christians say WWJD? What would Jesus Christ do? What would Jesus do? We tend to say WWWD.
Not
what would
for
Woody
me anymore.
Allen do?
What would WW Dylan Farrow do? I mean, she's incredibly brave. Again, like Wildstein, to be publicly saying this. There's all kinds of...
maybe we should start the Wildstein Awards and give one to her.
Now, the other kid, Moses Farrow, also Woody named his kid Moses.
I went to school with him. In full disclosure, I have to, as a journalist and pundit, I have to mention that.
No pressure. We're just going to name you Moses. We don't expect miracles or anything from you, other than to show up the moment I'm accused of pedophilia and insist that I'm not, and that your sister just is making her mother happy while she's 28.
Which is about as challenging as parting the Red Sea. Let's be honest.
You need, like, another miracle. You need another escaping Egypt miracle. Really.
Yeah.
What a nightmare.
My God, Moses is leading Woody Allen out of the scandal. He is taking Woody Allen. He's leading the exodus out of the scandal.
I'm going to predict that if this continues, at some point, Woody Allen will do the Jewish version of what Clarence Thomas did with Anita Hill, and he will say that he is being persecuted and linked to Roman Polanski because he's Jewish and people are jealous of his brilliance. But, Woody Allen hasn't exactly suffered massively in his film career for being Jewish. In fact, you could say he built the whole film career on being Jewish, among other things, and his talent as a filmmaker. Right. So I think if you use that in certain circumstances, you make a Shonda Helix.
Like the boy who cried wolf, the boy who cried Shonda, the boy who cried anti-Semitism, the Shonda who cried anti-Semitism. The other person who people are talking about now is Bill Cosby.
So Bill Cosby was accused by many women of drugging and raping them.
The nice thing about Bill Cosby is that it offers a fresh demographic.
The nice thing is that the press has rediscovered. By the way, Bill Cosby and Woody Allen both had the shitty stuff they did written about lots of times. It just now people are sort of paying attention.
Right, but I like it's good optics for Jews to have a non-Jew also involved.
Bill Cosby's just back in the press now that this issue is sort of like, oh my God,
right, back in the open.
We should take another look. You mean it's a bad thing when they rape women?
It's a rape renaissance.
Retro rape.
Vintage rape. A rape rerun.
Macklemore will be rapping about reviving rape soon in a new, interesting, ironic way.
And he will be the voice of rape victims while telling us 50 times within the same song that he's never been raped.
That's right. Absolutely. Right. So is it good for the Jews?
The Jews step up to the plate, Sandy Koufax style and Greenberg style.
We can give Dylan Farrow. She stepped up to the plate. Is she Jewish?
Right. Yeah.
Let's claim her. Why not?
I think this is a draw.
It's a draw? I mean, I think if it means more people are going to be willing to say, just because you know and love someone doesn't mean some bad shit hasn't gone down. That's good for the Jews because we got those problems too. I think Dylan Farrow's actions may be good for the Jews. And I think it would be good for the Jews to not have Woody Allen represent us anymore. I think it's time to live.
So are we going to have an exorcism?
I still want jokes, but you know what? They can be less self-loathing and they can be jokes that aren't based on misogyny. And a lot of his stuff.
I like the self-loathing.
A lot of his stuff is brilliant, but his stuff in women is pretty bad.
Freudian slip, by the way. You just said his stuff in women.
Aye.
Terrible.
Time for a new generation of big-time Jews.
The next news story, we got a very exciting comment that was left for us on our YouTube wall. Pretty excited at Morning Jew. You know what they say, you've made it when people send you hate mail. So this is the comment that was left for us by Shorty the President. Quote, why are they white? This isn't the look of a Hebrew. Oh, I forgot. They're fake Jews. Khazar imposter, Christ killer, slumlord, interest rate, Muslim blaming, rent hiking, racist, Talmud reading, Holocaust crying, never wanted anywhere, American depression causing, Gentile hating, Barabbas loving thieves. A concentration camp was the best thing ever happened to Jews. They killed the last good thing they ever had. I'll show you the grammatical errors, but that's neither here nor there. Interesting.
You know what's interesting to me is this person stuck Talmud reading in there. Like
I know he knows his shit.
Like the thing that's
not how to spell, but
the thing that's caused all those incredibly powerful things in ours is the Talmud reading. When the truth is, how many Jews are actually Talmud reading? Like almost.
At first, I thought he was a Jew who was calling us out for not being Israeli. Oh. Why are they white? This isn't the look of a Hebrew. Oh, I forgot they're fake Jews. So his first attack on us is that we're not authentic, not having Jew cred. But then he just goes full circle and starts attacking Jews. So I don't think he's actually a Jew. But Shorty the President, if you're watching, and you probably are because you watched us before and you felt compelled to leave a comment, this is an open dialogue. We'd love to know what you're thinking. It's a great sign for Morning Jew that we're now getting hate mail. It means we're taken seriously, that people know that they should be messing with us. We, as representatives of Jews, of course, because we are Morning Jew, and we determine whether or not the news is good for Jews, anything that is good for us is good for all Jews.
Wow. Well, by that case, you'd like to donate to Morning Jew, you will help the Jews out. You could give us a tip to News Story or a donation tip on http://morningjews.com. Jews with a Z or a Z, depending what country you're in. You pay, we report. It's true. We'll cover your story. We'll cover your story. All right. Well, listen, Katie. This was great. Great Morning Jew session. It's been an intense week for the Jews. Yeah, it has been. We're looking forward to the next week. I hope that it's the precipitation moves from the east to the west, and then we'll all be a little more comfortable. Yeah. I believe you said comfortable. Comfortable. It's got a bunch more syllables. There's a man, really quick. There's a man who gets run over by a car, and he's lying in the street, and an EMT guy comes up to him, and he says, "Are you comfortable?" And he goes, "Huh? You can say I make a living." There, we know it. We've been raised in the same protocols of Zion. One horse says to another, "How much you make this week?" $40. How much you make? 100. First one says, "Gross." She goes, "No, Schwartz." That's funny. I wrote that one. You did? I did. That's really good. I wrote like a 1955 sounding joke. Oh my God, what? That's impressive. Thank you. Thank you very much. You need to tap into that alter ego. Wow.